Warning, high winds approaching, water level rising, temperature increasing, voltage overloading.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1264 of our daily content grind. We're going to deviate away from Transformers for the day because this is something else that dropped that everyone is talking about right now, and I want to get my 2 cents in because, hey, let's strike while the iron's hot, shall we? So, we all know what happened with Hasbro and Power Rangers at this point, right? They never actually wanted it. Brian Goldner wanted it because it was a big boys license, but no one in development and marketing was ready for it when they got it. So what we ended up with was a very quickly hashed together toy line that did not really meet anyone's real expectations, and the high-end stuff fell flat for a lot of collectors, me included. My Zap Megazord's chest does not stay in place no matter what I try. Point being, it didn't do well for Hasbro for a lot of reasons, so it became one of the toy lines they have now licensed out, which means it is an underperforming line, and with the show in huge decline and now nothing on television, and toy sales sinking, the movie plans keep getting shut down. Apparently the Netflix thing is also in doubt or canceled. This franchise is a mess. So for now, it is in the hands of Playmates. And at first I was kind of excited for this because Playmates is a company that knows how to produce an inexpensive toy that is still very fun and satisfying. You know, they do that a lot with their Ninja Turtle toys. They end up being very, very nice figures for very affordable prices. Even the reissue stuff is actually pretty tame price-wise. They cut a few corners there, here and there on those, but you know what? Still, point being, they know how to make fun and affordable at the same time. So I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know, I wasn't expecting something super high-end. Anyone expecting something super high-end, or like this is where we're finally going to get articulated Megazords and all that, you were all kidding yourselves. That was not going to be in the cards for this company. Playmates doesn't do big, expensive, high-end. No, what they do is small and affordable. So they have shown off the very first offerings, and the first one's up. Whatever these are. They are Auto-morphin Power Ranger figures. This is tradition at this point. We know these very well. Why are they swollen? Why are they swollen? This is confusing to me. Like they're all ballooned out. The proportions are terrible. Like they look like you remember like the old school Mortal Kombat where like Kitana would kiss for the fatality and the character would inflate. That's basically what we're looking at. It's those proportions that we are working with these toys. It's weird to me. How is it possible that these look like the worst I've ever seen these? Okay, so for starters, yeah, I can see some decent level of articulation in there. It looks like the shoulders aren't universal. I could be wrong. Those could be sunken in, but they look like they're just cut along the torso, which would mean all they do is go forward and back. Could be wrong about that. From the pose, it does seem like they have some kind of swivel above the elbow. They do have an elbow joint. I do see a knee joint as well. The ankle seems to be a separate piece, so they might have some kind of ankle tilt, maybe. It's not demonstrated here. They at least have an ankle turn, because you can see the ankles at different positions. And it looks like universal hips, maybe? And then I don't know what they're doing with Kimberly, because they gave her the skirt, and that seems like it's going to limit a lot of the articulation. Yes, take the articulation out of the gymnast character. Great idea. So I'm going to read the little blurb from the press release, just so you know what is going on here. Auto-morphin figures. With a simple press of a lever, each Power Ranger morphs from its teenage self to its mighty Power Ranger hero. Collect all the Power Ranger characters. $9.99. So like I said, affordable. Like, these are inexpensive figures. I fail to see who they're for because design-wise, they're not really appealing to collectors, and this is not exactly a hot franchise for kids either, even though these toys seem to be extremely kid-friendly. So, things that are occurring to me about some of these, like, for instance, for, like, the Green Ranger, they did fix something from the original toy, which is you do not have to actually remove his armor to do the head flip thing. That was so annoying on the original one. That said, it looks like the shoulders, the overhang on his chest armor for the shoulder, is now sculpted into his arm, meaning it will rotate up. I want to say I saw the weapons for these figures and those were painted, but I don't think those were accurate. It's kind of hard. So here's the problem. A lot of people are passing around images that are actually the Hasbro produced ones, and they're getting them confused because on the surface they do look very, very similar, but this is like if you've seen more photos of that, we only have the one photo officially from Playmates. So if you see anything else floating around claiming that this is what the new toys are, it's probably the Hasbro versions that you're seeing. And the Hasbro versions kind of had the same problem. Very small head, very inflated bodies. I will say I kind of like the look of these a little bit better. You know, there's something about, like, the way the clavicle kind of, like, down slopes on these. It looks kind of awkward. I almost like it flat like this a little bit better. I don't know. Matter of opinion on that one, I think. But no, like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that these are gimmick toys that we have done over and over and over again over the years, and still the original ones are still the best ones. Like, the proportions on the original Fliphead figures are better than the Hasbro attempt. They're better than the Playmates attempt. How is that a thing? How is it possible that the technology on these have actually gotten worse? It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. You would think that gimmick would be able to be, like, shrunken down by now. Like, you'd think you would actually be able to produce something that was, like, cleaner and, you know, more articulated, not a tiny little head. At the same time, like, I feel like Playmates views Auto-morphin figures like this the same way they view these guys. So, ever since the 90s, they have been doing mutating Ninja Turtle toys that transform from the normal looking turtle to the Ninja Turtle character. They did these back in the 90s. I want to say early 90s, maybe late 80s. I can't remember the exact release date for those first mutating figures. But basically, they wanted to do Transformers but Ninja Turtles, and they were some of the best toys they produced for that line. You know, the original was so successful, they had multiple spin-offs and iterations of transforming Ninja Turtles. This one is from the 2000s Ninja Turtle series, where they took the exact same engineering and did the toy again. And that's what they kept doing. They just keep using this design over and over and over again because it worked so well. And even today, there's a new line of morphing Ninja Turtles. The new mutating line is like an auto-morph gimmick, but it functions relatively the same. So I kind of view, I think they view the flip heads as the same kind of traditional figure you're always supposed to produce, same as these, because it just makes sense in the series. But when Hasbro did these as their first volley of the new Power Ranger toy line, and it didn't really pan out well, why would you repeat that? Why would you do the exact same toy? Speaking of, here's the other photo they showed off. Their version of the Dinozords. So, I will say this, just from this photo, I'll be honest, they don't look terrible. I can see hollowed out parts in the plastic, like the Triceratops neck, the inside of the legs on the saber-tooth tiger and Mastodon. You can see the inside of the arms on the T-Rex are hollow. Okay, they've taken some plastic out. That's to be expected. I really do not like the effect parts on the ends of the tails. Especially, like, because number one, that makes a really short tail for the saber-toothed tiger, but it's also it's also taking the guns from the Triceratops and making them translucent blue for absolutely no reason whatsoever. But again, just like Hasbro did with their first iteration of the Power Ranger toys, we've already seen this. They already did it. And here's the thing, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. So I'm going to show you a comparison later. So for now, let me go to this again. Combinable Dinozords. As the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers summon the spirits of their mighty Dinozords, they can take on Rita's giant alien monsters and come together to form the Megazord. This incredible combination comes to life when you collect each of the 5 Power Ranger Dinozords and combine them to build the battle-ready Megazord in 2 modes, tank mode and fighting mode. $17.99. Now, the problem with this particular offering is they did not clarify how these are going to be released, just $17.99. Hasbro's was offered up in 2 different sets. The legs were one set, the arms and chest were another, and then the Tyrannosaurus was all by his lonesome, along with the power sword at least. And that makes sense, you know? That makes total sense. And if they do the same thing with these, then, you know, $17.99, that's not horrible. That's about comparable to what Hasbro did for their releases. But right now, we don't have an indication of that. If these end up being $17.99 for individual Zords, and, you know, I'm expected to pay $17.99 for that pterodactyl that doesn't do anything on its own, that's going to be problematic. That's going to be problematic. I will not like that. I will not like that at all. But here's the thing that worries me even more. Here's the part that worries me even more. I'm going to show you a close-up photo of the combined mode that was from that previous splash image. There is what our new Dino Megazord is going to look like. Now, I can see some paint skipped here and there. You can see how making the ends of the tails on the Triceratops and saber-toothed tiger has shortened those parts and hollowed the toys out very noticeably when they're in leg mode. I really do not like the look of that. What concerns me the most about this design, and I will be completely fair with you, there are things about this I actually don't mind. The head, for instance, is actually kind of large for how the Dino Megazord's head usually ends up. I'm used to it being fairly small on the body, and the torso armor looking just way too bloated. Now, this isn't show-accurate proportions, but it's closer than attempts that I have seen previously. What concerns me is, why are the shoulder pauldrons down? Now, I understand it's just a photo intern. They usually don't know how these things work, how these things function. We've seen it with Hasbro a lot. The problem I have is this design has been on the toy shelves in one iteration or another for over 30 years, and someone at Playmates still did not know how it's supposed to look in robot mode. I don't care if you're just a photocopier down in the Playmates mailroom. You should know what the original Megazord looks like. You should know that those shoulder pieces rotate up. And if they do rotate up, oh, great, awesome. Then I will take all of this back. I'm not sure how this is going to function, though. Do you see if those arms are actually connected to the body? Or does that just seem to be where they were photoshopped into place? Because I don't see a connection point. I see where the models intersect. Like, I see where the toys intersect there at the top, but does that look like enough to hold up those arms or convey a shoulder joint? It doesn't to me. So it does look a little bit weird here. I'm going to reserve judgment. I will state that we have Toy Fair coming up very, very soon. I have no doubt they're going to be showing off like a physical prototype there for everybody, and we'll know exactly what this is going to be like. We will, of course, be doing some kind of recap of Toys Fair, because they're sure to show off a whole lot of things that are going to be of my interest. But it concerns me that they got this license, and already they're not even sure how the Megazord's supposed to look. And I'm not seeing any next level functions here. You know, I would at the very least expect basic articulation on a Dino Megazord these days after 30 plus years. Even Hasbro's cheap attempt at the Dino Megazord did accomplish that. It had hips, it had elbows and bicep swivels. It actually moved a lot more than previous Megazord toys did, and that's what we needed. We needed an affordable Megazord that just had better articulation. That shouldn't have been much to ask. And to Hasbro's credit, I have that Dino Megazord. Is it great? No, but it's inexpensive, and it does more than the original one did functionally, even if it's not as solid as the original one was. So you know what? Fine. Hasbro's attempt actually improved upon it. I'm not seeing that improvement on the Playmates one just yet, but when we see the physical prototypes and model at Toy Fair, that story might change. Point being, it's bizarre to me that their first volley from Playmates on Power Rangers is exactly what Hasbro did when they first got the license, and it seems to be doing it worse than Hasbro did. So where is this going? Like, how is this going to function as a toy line? Like, I'm very confused here. Like, I would do something, like, if I was Playmates, I would announce something really cool right out of the gate. Like, hey, we're doing other Dinozords. We'll be able to build up your Dino Megazord in different ways. Not happening yet, though. And just before somebody in the comments mentions it, yes, I'm aware. This is not the worst Daijujin that has actually been announced recently. Because this horror show also exists. Yeah, this is for the current Sentai. They're doing retro Zords for the current Sentai with like a universal connector system thing like they did for Gokaiger, except it's exceedingly worse looking. I don't know why. Okay, so right now, those two photos are all we have, but we do have information on what else they're releasing as part of their initial volley of toys. The Power Morpher. Every Power Ranger needs their Power Morpher to summon the spirits of their Dinozord and become the alien fighting heroes that are the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This Power Morpher comes with all 5 of the Power Ranger Power Coins and has over 40 sounds and phrases. The Power Morpher recognizes each coin and unlocks each of the Dinozord custom phrases and sounds. $16.99. Over 40 sound effects. It actually recognizes which coin is plugged in, and it's less than $20. Now, obviously, it's all going to be plastic. It's not going to be the nice die-cast ones that Hasbro is giving us, but that's nuts. That is genuinely nuts. $16.99 for that many sound effects and actual function for the coins. That's actually really impressive. Like, if the sound effects are good, oh my god, they're gonna have stand-in voices. They're just gonna have stand-in voices that are kind of, sort of, maybe slightly like the original Rangers. If you're listening through like an echo chamber, but still. For all that's going to do, that's actually a really impressive price. And then there's the Blade Blaster. When it's time to take on Rita and her evil aliens, you need the Power Ranger Blade Blaster. 2 weapons in one. The Blade Blaster starts as the Power Ranger Blaster and then morphs into the extended sword that can be used in any battle. The Blade Blaster comes with over 20 sounds and phrases and includes lights with every blast. Power Rangers Blade Blasters up. $19.99. $20. You get a fully transforming Blade Blaster, and I do like my Blade Blasters. 20 sound effects, and the light-up effect. For that price, I'm really curious, because that sounds like something in that toy has to have been gutted, right? Something in that toy has to have been really gutted from the previous Blade Blaster pieces, and I'm genuinely curious what it is. I'm not expecting chrome, I'm not expecting die-cast, I'm not expecting like a spring flip on the blade. I feel like it's just going to be... Honestly, I don't know. I honestly don't know how they're pulling that off at that price. So, there are parts that are concerning me, and the first pictures of the toys really do not bode well, they do not inspire confidence. But the stuff they're planning for the roleplay section actually sounds like it has promise to it if it can feel substantial. It seems like the function's there, but I want to see them to know these are like substantial toys. So we'll be waiting for Toy Fair, but for right now, I have extreme reservations. I feel like that's the theme of the week. I do have my big concerns about how this toy line is going to end up, but we will see. And we have Toy Fair coming up. We'll find out there most likely. But for now, that is what we have, and that's what I have for you. So thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.